I want to make a video today regarding what my thoughts are on the football landscape that's to come. I don't want this to be a negative video or a depressing video by any means. These are just where I think we're going to end up collectively as spectators, consumers of this beautiful sport. So, I have a feeling that we're going to have a paradigm shift in terms of the clubs that are in power and those that aren't in power. I have a feeling that the teams that have been aligned with UEFA's/FIFA's prime directive, right, which is just shut the hell up and do as we say, are going to be okay. The teams that are looking to expand their revenue streams, aka the Super League, these traditional teams, and I'm just going to throw some names out there. Maybe you might recognize them. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus, maybe Man United, these sorts of teams. I have a feeling, unless you are a team that is being bankrolled literally by a country, Manchester City, PSG, you're going to have a really hard time these next coming years. Now, I want to present to you a scenario. Mbappe, right? Everybody knows that Mbappe wants to leave PSG. Now, the question is, does the money have that much of an influence at this point for him to want to stay at PSG, or does the chicness, right, the glitz and glamour, the champagne football that Real Madrid represents, the image, that it all represents, can that attract a player where they would be willing to say to Mbappe, hey, we can't pay you what PSG pays you, we can give you this much, and of course you're going to be playing for the greatest team in the world, Real Madrid, because that's what they would probably say, and you're guaranteed a Ballon d'Or, you're guaranteed Champions League finals, whatever, titles. Did you want this, right? Can that still attract the normal player? Does that have any value to the normal player? Or does the normal player these days just care about money, right? Money has always been an incentive for the most part, right? I mean, look at Figo. Figo got dragged out of Barcelona because he got greedy. He made a backdoor deal with Florentino Perez. Essentially, Figo thought that Florentino Perez wouldn't get elected. And one of the conditions of the contract was that if he didn't get elected, then he would have to pay Figo, I'm not sure how much money it was, but it was a big chunk of money back in those days. And then against all odds, Florentino Perez won, and then Figo had to keep his end of the contract and signed a deal with Real Madrid. Insane, right? So, money has always been, and I guess that's for everyone, right? An objective. One of the major objectives that what you strive for. But how much does the glitz and glamour, the romantic side of it, as a little kid, I was always a Real Madrid fan, or I was a Barcelona fan, or I was a Man United fan. How much does that pool still have, And are you going to start seeing a shift where these sorts of teams are going to rely on the youth more than ever? Is this going to create a more equal level playing field than ever before? Because it just doesn't make sense how a team, as an example, like Barcelona, highest revenues, right, I think last year, and is in such a financial debacle, How can you mismanage something that bad to the point where you have to rely on a Super League, okay? A Super League to save you. So, when I think of all these things, I have a feeling that there's going to be a big shift. And I have a feeling that when you think of Manchester City, when you think of PSG, you're going to think, okay, these are your new Real Madrids and your new Barcelonas. Unfortunately, if you're a fan of those teams, it's unfortunate. In terms of the power they have, And I think we're going to have a distinction here where it goes down to, Mbappe decided to stay at PSG, therefore he only cares about the money. Or he's going to Real Madrid because he wants to win something with his team of his childhood, the romantic team, whatever, right? So, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of cases like that where you're the youth players, they're going to be much more attracted depending on how they view football itself, right? Is it about making a living, let's go for the money, or you want to go, and play for a team that historically has produced, Ballon d'Ors, a lot of success. Can you do both? Maybe you start off in PSG and go to Real Madrid, but then, can these teams even afford those players? That's where it's going to get very complicated. And unfortunately, I have a feeling that, these sorts of teams, like your Chelsea's, one-man shows, right? Like Roman Abramovich runs that club. He owns it. He does whatever the hell he wants, I'm surprised Thomas Tuchel still has a job after he lost it against Arsenal. I was surprised we were going to see we were reviewing with our board, and we have come to the hard decision that we have decided to move on or forward without Thomas Tuchel. We want to thank him and his staff for their hard work because he lost it against Arsenal, right? Because that's how they work. But I don't want to go off on a tangent here. Point here is that I think that we're going to see a paradigm shift in terms of the clubs that are going to have much more pool. I think that for the next couple of decades, it's probably going to be these teams, your Man Cities, your PSGs. These are the teams that are going to have to get, pushed off the like the elite clubs, right? And I have a feeling that we're all just going to become a Ajax, essentially, right? Ajax, always successful, historically successful team. And now look at Ajax now. Like, they had that one run about 2 years ago in the Champions League where they, kicked Real Madrid's ass, and they went and kicked Juventus' ass. And then they lost the semifinals against a Tottenham team that somehow was able to pull it off, the greatest miracle ever. So I think that these sorts of clubs, like your Barcelonas, your Valencias, Valencia's a great example of a team that was historically great. Look at them now, irrelevant, right? Like I think we're all gonna see these teams today, like your Barcelona, Real Madrid's, Man United's, maybe not Bayern Munich, because Bayern Munich they know what they're doing. Well managed team, they're gonna be a-okay, I have a feeling. But like maybe your Juventus, your Milans, your Inters, like a step down in terms of power, right? How much pull does the icon, the marketing have versus the money? That's the real question I want to propose to you. The romantic side of your childhood. I would love to be a Barcelona player. I want to be a Barcelona player. And then guess what? Barcelona is like, hey, you want to play for us? But we can only offer you 3 million a year, 3 million euros a year. PSG comes by and say, hey, guess what? We're gonna offer you 22 million a year, and a 5-year contract, and bonuses, right? Of course, if you make it to the Champions League final or whatever. But point here is that how do you juggle that? I just see this as gonna be the future then. Oh man, it's kind of scary to think that like what scheme is being cooked in the back, because the Super League was just the beginning. They're gonna have to find other ways to make their money, because these teams are just so badly run that they either find an alternative to bring in the money, or they're just gonna have to succumb to it and realize that there's gonna be a shift in the power hierarchy, and that these new teams, your PSGs, your Man Cities, are now the de facto leaders of the pack for the next couple of decades. Who knows? I mean, Real Madrid ran the show for the last 50, 60, 70, years. So it's normal. Everything's a cycle. And we have to be prepared for that. But I just worry. I just worry that a team like Man United could disappear. A team like Liverpool could disappear off the map, become irrelevant. And it's all generational, right? It's like your kids are gonna grow up and say, "Dad, why are you a Liverpool fan? They never win, They never win. Dad, they're in the Europa League. Like, what? I'm a PSG fan. Why? Because, Robertinho, whoever the greatest player in the world is, in 30 years from now, he's the best. And he plays at PSG, But maybe that's how it is. Maybe that's how it's always been, Well, why am I a Barcelona fan? Easy, Michael Laudrup, I guess it's just sad that we come to the realization that some of these historical teams are just going to become irrelevant someday, or not as impactful. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little bit too cynical, but let me know what your thoughts are because I would love to talk to someone else about this. So let me know your thoughts. All right, guys. Take care. Bye.